Okay everyone, we're back to slot making. This is part 2. All we're doing is we're just going to be messing with the interior, messing with lights, potentially adding some more scripts, explaining how sound works, and some key essentials that you might want to do. Okay, for this example, we have this Volkswagen Polo GTI. The model for this will be in my Discord server, which is linked down below. What are we going to do to it? So, as you can see behind the car, we have quite a lot of packs, which some of them I'll link if I can, and some of them I'll leave in the Discord. But yeah, so this pack is a texture pack. It sounds like Minecraft, but all it does is gives you some textures to put on your cars. So for instance, if we hover over these, it gives you some paint textures, so you can make it candy, clear coat, etc, etc. You could also do special paint presets, so you can pick from violet to color shift, I don't know, to pearlescent, you know, up to you. That's kind of what this pack is. This is an engine bay pack. In the back we have a skybox pack, a seats pack, an actual engine pack. There's more over there, but we'll get over to that later. An exhaust pack, which is going to come very useful depending on the car you're doing. And I also have a low poly wheel pack, which is just basically all the wheels are rendered very simply in such a way that it still looks okay, but it's not the best quality. Then we have more engines over here with ranging from 3D engines to 2D engines, low poly, even engine parts as well. The first thing I'm going to go through, especially with this car, you'll notice that it's quite lifted. As I said in the last video, you don't really want to move it in studio, rather you want to mess with this tune, if I did say that. So you're going to want to open the HSE tune, and I'll show you a lot of stuff, and it'll look quite intimidating at first, but you'll start to understand it. Now, if you have some background knowledge of cars in general, this will come a lot easier to you, but just for starters, we'll go through some of the most easiest things to work on. So first of all is your weight, your car's weight. So usually you might go for curb weight or so and so. It's in pounds. So what I'd probably do is search the Polo's weight, which I'm going to do now. 2011 VW Polo GTI weight. 1,184. That will result in 2,610 pounds. And we just change the value here. So OBS is actually, yep, it's picking it up. So you change the value here. Now you have your brick size. So the actual weight brick is, imagine an invisible brick that's just covering the entire car. And what those values are underneath is how big the brick actually is. So this is where, as you can see, dimensions of your car in inches divided by 10. So now you want to take the width, height, and length of your car in real life in inches and divide them by 10. So for the Polo, it's 156.5 inches in length. So that will be 15.65 in game. So we go to length. 15.65. Now we take height, which is 57.2 inches. That'll be 5.72 in game. And 66.2 inches, which is 6.62. Weight distribution, you might want to find that out like on your own, but basically 55 means the weight distribution is to the front, and considering this is a Polo, we might want to make it just a bit more, like 60. If it was, say, a mid-engine car like a McLaren or a Toyota MR2, you might make it 40 because it's mid-engine and the engine's closer to the back. Suspension is something you have to experiment with. I won't get into too much detail, but it's something that you just play around with until you like it. Or steering settings, this is again something you experiment with on your own. Engine, okay. This is quintessentially a make or break for your car. You could make it as close to the counterpart as you can. Make the engine's power and most of its stats unrealistic. You could also call it Craig in quotation marks, which means it's basically really unrealistic. It doesn't match the car and it's really unfair. Most communities, if you see on Discord, they won't really accept crate cars unless it's meant to be a joke, obviously. But generally, you might want to stay close to natural or close to counterpart. What I like to do is probably go up in remaps like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and actually make it match what those figures would be. So right now, your base chassis that you got from the last video will have these stats: 200 horsepower, idles at 950 RPM, your peak horsepower is 6800 RPM, and your red line is 8000. Peak sharpness is just like it says here, how fast the power drops off past peak horsepower. So when you hit peak horsepower, power will start to decrease. The higher the value, obviously the faster it will decrease. I like to keep this around 15, just preference. Compression ratio, if your car has a turbo or a supercharger, you might want to look it up. Google the car that you're looking into. So for me, let's have a look. Compression ratio, there we go, 10:1 on this car because it is turboed and PSG. Again, if you want to make it as close as possible, then you experiment. So let's just say you make this 100 horsepower and your engine idle 550. You can keep peak RPM and redline, but I'm just going to search for the actual peak in RPM. Usually you might use AI for this because it's kind of long to try and find those kind of specs. It peaked at 62 and redline was 68. Okay, so peak will be 62 and your red line is 6800. You might ask the AI to find out what its naturally aspirated horsepower is, because keep in mind your horsepower here is before the turbo is considered, so, or the supercharger for instance. So let's go to AI again. Power output roughly 85 to 90 at 5000 to 5500. Compression ratio, you can add it on, and we're going to keep the turbo. So now we're going to test it. So if we click play here, of course I just stuck this body on really quickly before I started this video, so I haven't actually aligned the drive seat as such. We're going to go into the car. I'm going to lower my graphics because I'm not doing anything intensive. Press F to turn on. And now it makes 130 horsepower. That is not even close. So now we have to up the boost. Now, obviously, depending on how realistic you make the chassis, really depends. So we're going to go to boost now. And let's double it, put it to 14, but instead of having boost lag at 125, you might put it at half that, so about 62.5. Now, obviously you don't have to have decimals, but if you want to be precise, you can. Okay, let's hop back in again. Turn my graphics down. Oh, it's already down. Okay. Now we make 177 horsepower, which is pretty close actually. 180 horsepower at 62. Yeah, so we're actually pretty close with this. I want to make this a stage 2 car, so now what I do is probably add, well, we can research it actually. It would get up to 220 to 230 horsepower. You need an ECU remap, a full performance exhaust system, upgraded intercooler, and a air intake. Yeah, so now we're gonna add, so here it says net gain, add about 40 to 50 horsepower. 90 plus 50 is 140, obviously. And now we go back, test it. This thing makes way too much now, so for the sake of the video I'm going to keep it at where it's at, but now we're going to move to actual visuals. So now that we've made our car stage 2/stage 3, what I'm going to do quickly, you don't have to do this, but suspension tune, you're going to notice that it's very lifted And if you mess with the stiffness, yes, it's going to lower it, but then it's going to go all soft and wobbly, which you might not want. But if you mess with your suspension length, then your stiffness is going to go all whack, and it's just a bit weird to mess with. So what I like to do is go to that server I mentioned last video, which you should definitely check out, and generate a tune based on the model I'm making. I'm going to implement some really essential scripts, which I'll also link or put in the Discord. First script is RTRA's required scripts. This basically has quite a lot of the things that you'll definitely need in your slot car. So we're going to open up body, take our script, anti-collide. It prevents your car from like conjoining and merging into the other player's car, and then you kind of get stuck. I don't know if you've experienced it in games, but you'll notice you get stuck and you can't get out. And this basically just lets you phase through the other player's car without any hassle. So that's one thing. Car commands, this is if you're genuinely making it your car rather than a game. So let's say in South Asians UK, I wouldn't keep this unless it's specially made for someone. But what you do is you take your user ID. So in my case, I'm going to go to Roblox, go to my profile, take my user ID, paste it in here, just so this doesn't throw up any errors. You're just going to put 0 for now because you haven't actually done anything for it. Prefix, exclamation mark GTI. Again, these two you don't really need, but it just makes everything feel a little more realistic. The most important one, in my opinion, is your tires. So by standard in plugins, you are given this dynamic friction script, which quintessentially tells your tires how to act. Now, this isn't really that realistic, but it works, right? Depending on what you're doing. But most CCs or car communities in Roblox will want you to have RTRA, or at least a modified version of RTRA. So what we're going to do is delete that, put the system into plugins, and move the tire stats. So it's like it shows you the health of your tires into your drive seat. I'm going to realign everything that we have so far. So downput. So I'm going to make all of these visible. And that's it for aligning it. Now we're going to test the car commands. So if we click play here, if we go into the chat, GTI remove, it removes the car entirely. That way you can prevent lag. We go down here, remove, lock the car, unlock it, anchor it, unanchor it, add admin, hide it, show it, eject. So if anyone's in the car, you'll like literally kick them out. You can teleport to it. You can even give it underglow and change the headlight color and update it, you know, so on and so forth. Next, lighting. You'll notice that in this specific model, we got quite lucky because everything's pre-separated. So the next one we're going to use is VG's Epic Lights. And now there's two kinds of things you can use. You can use Epic Lights or Spotlights. Personally, Epic Lights is very convenient. It's very easy to use once you get the hang of it. It's not that hard to set up. Again, you just need to get used to using it. So what we're going to do is open a chassis tune, move the plugins in. And now we're going to open lights, move it into workspace. And we have, as you can see, our lights. So if we just click brake real quick, that's back. So we're going to flip this around using Control R and basically just align it to the car. Again, oh well, not again, but swap indicators because they're the wrong way around in this version. And yeah, let's get started. So what I like to do is merge our highs with our lows. So let's take low, for example, take the origin, take highs position, copy paste, and it's roughly in the same area. You might, in this case, because we're using the fog lights as indicators, we're not going to have fogs, so we're going to delete the lights for those, and that's just that. And we have left front and right front indicators, so I'm just going to go to our high, the top one is right. Yeah, right. That one's our right, so we're going to take origin there, put our front right in, copy paste. Same for the bottom, copy origin, front left, copy paste, and it just makes everything a lot simpler. On this model, we do have side indicators, which are separated, which means we can position those. You do want to position your lights. I'm just doing this ahead of time. So we take our front, right, and headlights, hold control to select all of them. I'm just gonna move the angle. Oh, no. Oh, it's because I have multiple objects selected. Anyhow, if that's the case, just hold tab when you select move and move it down. And then you can just about align it. I'm gonna keep it a little bit forward so it actually sticks to the road. Now we go to our side indicators. Again, this time they're actually centered, so we're gonna move the positioning. Now obviously one side's gonna stick out more than the other one's gonna be hidden. So we just want to get this as bang on center as we can. So maybe use tab here, about that. And then we just want to move the opposing side outwards. There we go. And then we have our rears. So let's see. Okay, in here is one of your brake lights. This is where you're going to take this model. So here we go, trunk, tail light, LOD. Again, all that stuff is separated pretty much, and we have access to it. Let's go. LOD, that's our actual light, I guess. And then that's gonna be our, let's see actually, because that entire thing, okay, well, that's not helpful. So in this case, we are not going to have rear indicators, which is kind of unrealistic, but again, for the sake of the video, we're gonna follow through. So we only have brakes and rears and reverse actually. We might have to remove reverse as well, but a quick fix for reverse would be just go to the bottom of this, create a part. Yeah. Scale it really small, like astronomically small. About that. Smooth plastic. And now we're gonna make it like a dark color or paint match it to blue. Name this, come on, if that doesn't click over there, you can click here, RV, and then you make another part, scale it, make it gray, move it out there, and now you make a third part, which is going to be white, slightly transparent, and just extend it over that and inside here, and just make it fit really. Now you want to go to your center part, make it fit inside the transparent bits, and now you basically have your reverse light. So we're just gonna group these, move it into our polos, tails, and we'll ungroup them, but for the sake of video, again, I'm just gonna move it somewhere, maybe on the diffuser actually, like a little F1 racing light, but instead of a racing light, it's a reverse light. Let's move it about there. Again, prefer if you can align it with the logo. That's about it. And then we can take our reverse lights, which is here, move it down, because we only have one reverse light, take the position of one and copy paste. Control V, take your reverse, move the move selector to the actual center of the model. It's very useful when it gets moved quite a lot. We're going to take our reverse, it doesn't have to be exactly center, and move it out. There we go. And now we're going to take, did I merge? Yeah, I did. Okay, now we can move this down. I mean, you can align it with the logo. It's not exactly going to be aligned, but sure. That's it for positioning. We want to actually make the lights work. So what we're going to do is, let's start with our reverse light first because we're already here. We're going to take reverse, go to our reverse group, Control D, rename it to LN. So I'm assuming it means light node. And what we'll do is make the duplicated part glow instead of the normal part. There we go. Control D, LN. Yeah. Okay, and you just do this for the rest of the car. So what else? Okay, tail light left, tail light right, and there's one more. It's not that. What is it? Surely I'm missing it. Hold on. Let's go up here, hold Alt, click this. It was at the bottom of tail, right? I'm just blind. Click this, move all of them to your brakes, Control D, go to name, LN, there we go. Now we've got rears, so just gonna go to our tails again. I'm gonna look for textured reflectors, go here, go to rear, Control D, name, LN, there we go. That's it for rear lights. Now we go to our side. Mirrors, reflect the left, take it to our left side indicator, Control D, LN, go to mirror again, mirror R reflector, and you just do the same thing. Okay, now we go to our fronts, click off those, click head. It's crazy, headlight even. That's headlight left, headlight right. That's going to our headlights, obviously. That's going to be that's going to be our low beam, and then make it named LN. Close that. Go to reflector. So again, this is the DRL. So we want to take these, move it to running, and control the point lights essentially. Control D again, LN, same thing. Okay, that's sorted now. This is what's going to be high beams. So we're gonna take these, go to high, Control D, LN. There we go. That's our headlights done. Oh yeah, we were gonna make our fog lights our indicators. So I'm gonna click on this. It's in stock. running into a predicament here. So because these are grouped in the mesh itself, we can't actually make them indicators. So in this case, we can return the fog lights by duplicating the point lights, but we can't have actual front indicators. And that's the problem with most models, because they don't really provide separation. If you want them to be separated, you have to go into Blender and separate it yourself, which is kind of a pain. But let's go to running, Control D, move it into fog. And because the fogs are actually much lower than the headlights, just gonna move them down. There we go. And now that we've done our lights, we're gonna move it into body, not the VW Polo GTI body, but this body. And yeah, that's how you fit lights. So assuming that all of it worked, we're gonna click play here. And there's our tire stats right there from the RTRA system. The normal keybinds are H for your low and high beams, as you can see. N for your running lights. This is something you can change, by the way. So your reflectors and indicators and whatnot will run as running lights, so we can change that. Brake lights are there. I think, yep, those run with our lows and highs. And then indicators, there we go. There's our side indicators there, and that's how you fit lights. So this is your light script. You don't want to touch this. You want to go to configuration, the module script, turn off illuminated reflectors. This will become false. And over here, just as you'd expect, you can configure brightness, type of lights, how quickly the indicator flashes, the type of running lights you have. So in this case, I might make it LED. If you have sequential indicators or not, you don't. Pop-ups, if you have a really old car that has pop-up headlights, you might use this, but I haven't figured out how to use it yet, so I don't know. You can change the color of them as well. So my mic at this point of editing decided to give up when I was recording it. Instead, I'm briefly going to explain what's going on. Basically, all I'm doing is changing the keybinds to be more suitable for me, because the type of car you make and the plugins you install will have loads of keybinds, which means you want to adapt your lights to be more free and efficient. I then test this, as you can see. Headlights, tail lights, fogs, etc. all working fine. I hope this part of the tutorial helped. It dragged on for quite some time, but essentials are essentials. If it did help, please share it around with people you know so you can all get to make your first cars. If we get 5 likes, 100 views, and 5 subs, part 3 can drop. See ya!